suffering. Redemption. Hi everyone, welcome back to my silly little book channel. Hope you've had a great time in your time without me. Today I'm doing a little wrap up. I've actually already filmed this once, and then I realized Apple decided I didn't deserve to be seen in that video, so they just cut my head off in all my clips. It's fine. So pro tip, don't use your watch to see if you're in frame. There's also people watching me right now, but yeah, who cares? Anyway, this is my list of books, both in February and March. I read 5 books in February, right? Yeah, 5 books in February. And then I finished 6 books in March. Okay. To start, I finished The Bad Reputation Duet by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I also love this cover. I'm not really sure why, but it's beautiful. There's people walking in my apartment complex. Why are you walking so slowly? Okay, well, he sat down. Anyway, this is technically 2 books, which I didn't count it as 2 books earlier, but it's 2 books. This is Whatever It Takes and Wherever You Are. I rated this 4.5 stars. This is not a true 5-star for me. It's not perfect. Like, I love Willow and Garrison, but I think I'm a Raisy girl. I love Ripe and Daisy, but they are great too. I think everybody who enjoyed Dick Kelly obviously should read this. Like, there are some little like holes when you're curious about them. That makes sense through here, but the reading guide is crazy. I read it after the completion, but there is a reading guide where you can like go and read it chapter by chapter, and you're like, oh, we just met Garrison, we just met Willow, like all of that. Don't do that. Just read it after some kind of perfect. Oh, love. So yeah, highly, highly, highly recommend, especially this edition. Thank you, Jonah, for this book. Then next, I read Nightbane, which I'll put a picture somewhere, which I rated 3 stars. It is a young adult fantasy novel. It is the 2nd installment in the Lightlark series, and I said it was 3 stars just because I was like, I didn't put the book down necessarily. Like, I didn't want to DNF by any means, but I also wasn't invested in the story. Like, it just sort of felt like, oh yeah, like I'll write a 2nd book, but nothing was super engaging or intriguing to me, so I just said I had fun while reading. 3 stars. It's also, I'm not the intended audience, which I have to keep in mind, but I gave it 3 stars. Then I had read a few physical books by that point. Thank you, Sarah, for letting me borrow that. I went to my Kindle phase. Also, side note, every book talk girly, they look so small and dainty when they hold their Kindles. Not me. I got the man hands where it's like, do I need a pop socket? No, not really, but it's just more fun. Oh, this is what my Kindle looks like, by the way. Love her. And I read my 5-star read so far. I don't know if this is my first, no, this is my first year. But I read Caught Up by Liz Tomford. She wrote the rest of the Windy City series, and if you love sports romance, that is the series for you. She eats every time. This one was Kai and Miller, so it's single dad nanny. It's so fun. The kid is really cute. Like, everyone is rooting for them on the team too, which is fun. It also sets up the next book super well, which I am so excited for. It sounds hilarious. The premise is so silly and goofy, and I love it. So that was my 5-star read, was Kai and Miller's story and Caught Up. Love them. I'm gonna buy the physical copy. And then, since I was still in my Kindle phase, I read another book by Krista Becca Ritchie, but this was in the Like Us series, which is the spin-off. It's a whole thing. This is kind of a spin-off, but not really. I'm scrumptious. I wonder how my hair looks. I should check that first. Anyway, so I read Misfits Like Us because Luna and Nelly's story had come out at that point. So I was really curious, like, I wonder if it's gonna look like Heaven's Raining Down on me because these lights. Like, because everyone was so like, oh, this was my favorite. I love Luna and Denali. So I was curious. I was like, well, what am I missing out on? And I read it and I went, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I rated it 3 stars. I think they have much stronger work in the Dick and Calloway series. Like, this is less comedy. I feel like the Like Us series is a little more out there, you know? And you're probably like, Jacqueline, do you not know how this whole series started? Yeah, I would argue Like Us is more out there. Because yes, the core 6 are Nepo babies, but it's so clear that the children are Nepo babies. I gave it 3 stars. It was fine. Nothing to write home about. Just didn't love it. Yep. And that was my conclusion of finished books in February. And then the first book I finished in March, or not that I finished in March. The first book I had started reading in February, but I was reading other books simultaneously. So it took me into March, was House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, which I have to land it on a 4 stars, which you're probably like, but the way you read book, it's mine. It's subjective, okay? The whole point of reading, conversations, subjective. It was good. It was fun. There were just a few choices I did not agree with for characters, and that's why I was like, what do you mean that's the choice that character would make? No, they wouldn't. And there was a really big like climax moment, and then she just like didn't care. I'm trying to like not spoil it, but there's a moment in here where I was just like, that's not the way Bryce would have gone about that. Why did we choose that for her? And I couldn't really see anything other than to like make the plot progress, which is not my favorite way to like analyze a character choice. It should always make sense, and if it doesn't, it should eventually make sense, which I just felt like we've never really touched on it again. So I gave this 4 stars. I'm excited to keep going. I know the second one is everyone's favorite, so we'll see. This is also such a thick book, Jesus. But, oh, I misspoke. I'm so sorry. Also in February, so scratch that. That book was finished in March, but started in February. This was the book I was reading simultaneously with it, because I don't like reading fantasy before bed. I want my brain to be turned off. I read Caving 13 by Clay Walsh, which I think I'm gonna land on a 4.25. I love series where like nothing really happens and there's a lot of emotional things happening. Emotional romance, that's what I want in everything. I don't need a rom-com. I need somebody to be kind of funny, like Gibbsy, funny, but I want emotional romances, and it's so good. These books, I love Irish names. This one is Johnny and Shannon, so not very like the other names, but this one is just so like emotional, and you expect that. You read the first one, you say, oh, well now I gotta fix it, and then we make it worse, and then we get better. I like here, but it's just pain and suffering, redemption, you know? And I loved it. So I think they're very entertaining. They read in my head like MTV because they're set in like 2005, and that's just what I associate with 2005 for whatever reason. So I'm just like fully watching MTV when I read these, but it's not MTV content necessarily. I mean, I suppose like the channel, not like mature TV rating. So I would recommend if you like emotional romances. These are published as YA, so they are high schoolers, but I think it's worth a shot. High schoolers, yeah. It's not high school in Ireland, but I'm not Irish. Am I? We'll figure that out later. Sorry, my list is down here. My notebook. It also has my to-do list. Next, I read the most disappointing read this year. I got it at the library, thankfully, so I don't own it, and it's not my Kindle history, thank God. The only history it's in is my library. And I read Raiders of the Lost Heart. I gave this 2 stars. I would have DNF'd it if it were not for book club. Like, I literally texted a group chat. I was like, you mean y'all finished this? And they're like, yeah, we did. So now you kind of have to. And I was like, fair enough, I guess. Sorry, I have a thing kind of soonish. Yeah, it was just, the characters were supposed to be super smart. They were not smart at all. So that was really confusing. And then, like, we were supposed to be so smart. We weren't. The characters weren't convincing. Like, I just didn't like anybody. And I know there are such things as unlikable characters, but normally I can somehow find a way to root for them. And there I was just like, eh. The ending was cool. Why didn't we do that sooner? The, like, epilogue ending? I don't know. Like I said, I love tea. Yeah, skip over that one. I don't recommend. And then I went back into my Kindle phase because I forgot to cancel my subscription. So I read The Arsenic Eater's Wife on Kindle, which is like a historical mystery, which was really fun to read. I hadn't read one like that before. This one, you basically follow this woman who's accused of poisoning her husband, And you sort of follow the events of like why they think that and how it unfolded actually. And I particularly enjoyed this because I love language. I'm a bit of a word nerd. So like there's this fun like 1800 style of speak every now and again, which was really fun. And then the characters themselves, it's just like the I don't know, they paint the character's status very well, which is normally something I hate in books. Like I normally hate status, but because of the context of the plot, the way the author painted status was chef's kiss. I think it's Joe Segura wrote Raiders of the Lost Heart. The Succeeder's Wife is by Tanya Mitchell, which I would definitely recommend. I give it 3.75 stars. It's just not to like my personal taste for 5 star. However, if that at all sounds appealing to you, I think you'll enjoy it. And then I continued my Kindle phase and I read a novella. I read Worst Wingman Ever by Abby Jimenez. Oh, and I rated this one a 4 stars as well. And you're probably like, Jacqueline, 4 stars for a novella seems like a lot. And you're right, but I knew it was a novella going into it. And I think it served its purpose beautifully. I loved her writing. Like just the brief little character snippets we got, even I was really enjoying. There are a few quotes there that I really, really enjoyed. The one where it's like, I drink coffee and I know things. I was like, me. She's just like me for real. But there's another one about kindness, which is always a theme I love. So I'm definitely very excited to go read her full-length novels. I don't know which one to do first though, but I'm very excited. Abby Jimenez, Worst Wingman Ever, 4 stars. I feel like I'm rushing. Am I talking too fast? Probably not. Then to wrap up this months, I read Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. And if you're like, Jacqueline, you read on your Kindle and then you buy physical books, I'm aware. This is why I knew. Decided for my Addicted Cowboy reread, I get to buy them. Yay. But so Saving Six is Joey and Aoife's book, and I was actually really curious to learn more about them because of how Aoife handled Joey every now and again in Keeping 13. I just thought she's a truly admirable character, and in here we see the like messy ins and outs of being a high school relationship, especially one that involves substance abuse. And we follow these characters sort of like, you know, childhood friends, lovers, to like wanting to be better for one another. But there are some things that I just don't agree with, like foundationally, that Aoife believes in. I'm like, girl, you cannot fix him. I'm sorry, girl, you cannot fix him. And Joey knows that, which was nice. So I'm curious to see where this goes in redeeming Six. I need to watch a hurling game. Like, what is hurling? Because when I think of hurling, I think of like throwing up. But I've heard it's kind of like baseball. I don't know. I watched a Niall Horan interview. Mayhap. We'll figure it out. But I read Saving Six. I really enjoy Chloe Walsh's writing. Like I said, it's that 2005 setting, so it just all feels like MTV to me. So it's very bingeable, and I love characters. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the guards in here, all that jazz. Yeah, and this is also like a lot of time jumps. So this spans a few years. I think we go from like first year to, I don't know what year. What even is first year? They tell us in the beginning of the book. It's funny, that's how I knew I was reading an Irish book, because there's not only a name pronunciation guide, but also like a slang guide, which is fun. That's how you know it's a glossary, pardon, not a slang guide, a glossary. But yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, that's fun. Yeah, I thought it was cute they called hoods of cars bonnets, because it's funny because like Americans, we call it the hood of a car, but they call it bonnets. Isn't that so cute? But anyway, that was my final read in March. And now, sorry, my machine behind me are making noise. Tea time. I'm currently reading The Poppy Ward and The Teacher by Frida McFadden. And if you're like, Jacqueline, where's your TBR? Well, we all know I can't follow it. And B, I love to mood read. So that's what I'll be doing, because I have so many books coming out this month. I need to I'm gonna book it, try and get, actually, I don't know what day Gibbsy's book comes out. This book is massive, deceptively massive. So yeah, I'm gonna show you all the books I've read in a stack this month. Months? If I read this in a month, I would be elated. Alas, it's been a couple months. So these are all the physical books I read that I own these past couple months. And then I read one from the library and a few of others on Kindles, and then one from a friend. So that was my February, March reading month. I'd say it was pretty good. Very much enjoyed it. I think I'm expanding my horizons a little bit in taste because I'm a little tired of the rom-com. Even though I love it, it's just, I'm a little worn. So we'll see what I read this month. And I hope you have a great month, reading month. I hope so many blessings come your way. Someone's being really loud in my apartment. Bye.